welcome to week 5 of the regular season. It's Tuesday night. Got a lot of football to talk about, and I mean a lot. But first and foremost, I'm joined as always by Anthony, aka Big Ants Gaming, and our very, very, very special guest, Lulaboo, Fel Lula. Lula, how are you? Introduce yourself. Tell everyone all about you, who you are, who's your favorite team, what's going on.
Hello, my name is Lulaboo. I'm usually on Twitch on the weekdays. I do a cooking stream. I do a lot of hosting duties. I'm doing a lot of video gaming lately. And today I get to talk about football, which is one of my favorite things to talk about when I don't have to do any cooking or gaming. So I'm really excited to be here. Hello. You can find me at fail_Lula if you want to talk to me later about football. That's totally fine. I'm very excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. We're so glad that you're here.
I'm a Chargers fan.
Yeah,
Chargers fan.
Chargers fan.
Here it is. It's my Bosa jersey.
Perfect.
I have to rep it.
But yeah, thank you for being here and coming on. It's a pleasure to have you. As we move forward, I do want to say, Anthony, I noticed you're the only one here not wearing your team's colors. What's going on, buddy?
Huh?
They have a third bye week?
See, you're on the same page. Yeah. We're not supposed to come back to football until October 17th. So Sunday. Yeah.
Okay.
We get off that bye week. We're NFL is testing out a new program. So yeah, 3 bye weeks in a row.
Perfect. It's good to hear.
So good.
This is fantastic. I've never heard of a team doing that. But hey, the Dolphins, first time for everything. But perfect. We'll get right into the show. Fantasy football. It's been a wild year already for fantasy. A lot of injuries, a lot of people popping off that we didn't expect. I mean, first and foremost, let's talk about James Robinson. Jacksonville running back whenever they, probably the only shining light on Jacksonville right now. We gonna consider him the real deal? He's got 3 straight 20-point games in standard scoring leagues. Is this the real deal, or is he just benefiting from Trevor Lawrence being awful?
So Trevor Lawrence being awful, I just call it being a rookie.
Okay.
I still am a firm believer that once Urban Meyer, which Urban Meyer is catching a break. We'll talk about that later. But I just think that right now they need to be feeding the ball to James Robinson until Trevor Lawrence can figure out how to quarterback. Yeah, let him go. I think he's good. I like him.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Trevor Lawrence needs some time to cook, I guess you could say. Some quarterbacks can pop off right away, and I can mention one right now, I guess. But I'll hold back a little bit. But I think Trevor Lawrence is one of those quarterbacks that are definitely gonna need some time to hit their stride for sure, because he's doing okay, I guess. And for now, at least you have that shining star. At least you have James Robinson. You have somebody that is starting to become reliable. I don't know if they're going to become, future reliable. Who knows? Oh, wait, they're going up against the Dolphins this week, right? So I think it's probably going to be
a good start.
Good chance that you probably want to start them against the Dolphins.
Got it.
Possibly.
Perfect. Yeah.
Already?
Yeah. Already. Hey, listen, I picked up James Robinson in week 3. So I've been riding that train. Alvin Kamara and James Robinson. Oh, and Cordarrelle Patterson. I made all the great pickups this season. Anywho, we're moving on to the Giants. Kadarius Toney, someone that we've talked about. Lula, this is your first week here, but we've talked about him a lot this season. He was a hype rookie, hasn't really lived up to the hype. But then this week, well, first of all, everyone on the Giants is hurt after this past game. I mean,
yeah, actually,
everyone.
Right.
So Kadarius Toney pops off with 10 catches for 189 yards. With everyone that's hurt on the Giants, if you pick up Toney, do you start him in 12-man leagues?
That's hard to say. Well, I mean, listen, everybody else is gone, so he's going to be one of the only few targets that are going to be left available to go after, right? So, I mean, at this point, if he's going to pop off, this man's going to want to show up. He's going to want to show out. He's going to want to make an argument about, let me be your, number 1 or number 2 on this thing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him pop off if the dude's motivated enough to do so. And since we have a lot of people, on the bench getting recovered, there's not going to be many other options. I mean, is there any other options right now for the Giants?
I couldn't tell you. Everyone I know on that team is hurt.
There you go.
Yeah. Just him.
Yeah, just him.
So that should tell you everything you need to know. But we'll see if he can be consistent. I mean, you always see shining stars that like pop off on certain games and then kind of dip down from there. So we'll see what kind of football. We don't have a lot of back end stats for him, so it's one of those things. So like, if you believe in him or if you think it's gonna be the deal, what can I say?
Yeah, I mean, and like if we're being honest, let's not, he had less than 10 targets going into this week, so that's gonna say something. But with Saquon out and literally the entire team out, maybe he gets a shot. But now Pittsburgh got a little bit of a problem. Juju's hurt, so if you had Juju on your team, I have a weird feeling that both Ray and McLeod and Chase Claypool are probably taken in most leagues. But if you have both of them, let's say you have Chase Claypool and you have Ray, who are you starting over the two?
Claypool. Claypool for sure. I liked him before Juju was knocked out. He has the Megatron type of build. He's a big guy. He can run. He can stretch the field. I don't know if Big Ben can do what he did again. I don't know. It all depends on Big Ben. So regardless of what we like and who thinks is good for Pittsburgh, it all depends on Big Ben. But if it's just a gut instinct, I'm going with Claypool.
I'm going to say the same thing, Claypool. I'm not only biased because he's actually on my fantasy team, but he's been super good with even, despite having Big Ben around, he's still actually good at catching targets and getting what he needs to get done. So that would be my 2 cents too.
Cool. I mean, it's amazing what these receivers can do with the baked potato at quarterback.
Imagine him with like just anybody who can like throw decently well at him, like he would just anywhere else he would just be a big old star.
Exactly.
Like Jameis. I got you.
No,
yeah.
Oh God. Okay, you haven't, Lula. You just prepare yourself for Jameis Winston talk. It's yeah. Okay. Moving on.
Okay.
We're keeping with going back to Jacksonville. 2 weeks ago, Carolina trades Dan Arnold and a third for C.J. Henderson, the cornerback. Dan Arnold, now the most targeted receiver in Jacksonville. 2 weeks in. This is another one that I'm confused about. Dan Arnold was a reliable 5 to 7 points whenever he was in Arizona. Didn't do much the first 3 weeks in Carolina, but now it looks like Trevor Lawrence has him as a security blanket. Are you picking him up? Are you going to throw him on your roster? Maybe not start him, but at least pick him up now?
No.
Okay.
He hasn't shown me any reason to like be wooed or be wowed by him. Like I haven't seen I'm not seeing it. Like his points in the past, just his performance even last week. Sure, it's like 8 points, which is like, I guess, absolutely, great. You passed the class, but did you get an A+? I don't know.
I mean,
no.
I got Dallas Goedert, so he's been putting up a solid 4 points a game. So I might need to pick up Dan Arnold.
Tight ends are really tough to come by for fantasy right now. So, I mean, you got to think about a rookie quarterback. Your security blanket is a tight end. So, if anything, if he gets like 5 or 6 touches, if one of them's a touchdown, that's a win for your tight end spot in fantasy.
Yeah.
Which I need help in.
Yeah. No, tight ends are wild, and that's why like these 3 points are all about tight ends. Like bringing up the next one, T.J. Hawkinson had a fantastic first 2 weeks. Since then, hasn't done much. I think he's averaging 4 points a game for me. I'm just kind of riding it. I have everyone else on my team, so I don't really need him. But I wrote on our run of show, I said hold the line. I think he's a guy that you hold on to because they're going to find their rhythm in Detroit. It's just a matter of time. And he is Jared Goff's kind of security blanket there.
Yeah, you're going to have to say the same thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Perfect. Jonnu Smith, you got him, you cut him. Let's just he's like a number 5 receiver at this point. He's not getting any looks from Mac Jones. Do you just get rid of him?
It's early. He's still a tight end. Belichick loves the tight end. He's going to develop as a tight end for New England along with Matt Jones. So you don't have any more tight end options. Like
you got Hunter Henry in New England.
Who?
Hunter.
What has he been doing?
More than 30 yards total in 3 weeks.
I mean,
yeah. Go ahead.
I wouldn't just because I would say that there's there's other tight ends out there. Okay, like I'm not gonna say this one. If you're looking for another tight end and you're kind of scraping the barrel, maybe I'm gonna keep him and then hopefully he'll get better. But if you're like in a really tight fantasy spot right now, is it somebody? Do you want to take a gamble at somebody who hasn't really given you, I guess, an argument to like keep him in a fantasy roster?
Yeah. I guess, yeah. I mean, you're right. Like, the tight ends are kind of weak this season. One guy, I mean, if we're going to keep talking tight ends, keep an eye on probably Tommy Trimble out of Carolina. He's a rookie, so he's not going to do great. If you're in a super deep league, maybe keep an eye on him. But he seems to be a red zone, like, front runner for Carolina, both as a runner and a receiver. So just got to keep your eye on. And then the last point we have for fantasy football, I just wanted to make everyone on the Rare Drop Sports channel aware that I am still undefeated in the Rare Drop Sports Fantasy Football League. This was after Moss Fan talked massive crap against me and then got blown out by over 20 points this week. It's your boy, Nelstar15, lone undefeated in Rare Drop Sports Fantasy Football. That's all I'm going to say about that. But we'll go.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Hold the applause till the end of the show.
I have no pony in this race, so I will give you like props.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
You're undefeated. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm undefeated. And yeah, we'll not talk about my other league. But moving on to the week 5 recap, a lot happened this week. There's a lot to talk about. We're going to try and get through this pretty quickly. But first and foremost, one of the biggest talking points we've had all season is the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are 2-3. They just lost to who I think is best team in the NFL, Buffalo Bills. The offense is being overworked. The defense looks like they are a college team at this point. What's going on with the Chiefs?
I feel like they're going through a psychological spiral downward, but that's just me personally. I feel like there's just Patrick Mahomes is not looking like Patrick Mahomes right now. Neither is you have not only Patrick Mahomes, but kind of other people like Kareem Hunt, Travis Kelce, kind of like dropping the ball, like not just figuratively, like literally. Like they're that contact that they used to have, that kind of thing that they were, that connection that they were having together as an offensive line in general is just kind of not there right now. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if somebody put some bad juju in their, locker room or something, but like for sure, they are not coming together as a team that they used to be, even though they still have the same coach, they still have the same quarterback, they still have those same receivers. So it's something that they, I'm pretty sure they're gonna try and figure out what's going on. I'm sure, but there was a lot of gaping defensive holes that were taken advantage of by the Bills.
Yeah.
So
what do you think, Ant?
So it's really hard to talk about Kansas City because if you look at the stats, it's not Mahomes' fault. Mahomes got 1,500 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. If you look at this on paper, you don't see a 2-3 team. But then if you scroll down to the defense, yeah, the glaring hole is the defense. If the defense cannot get a stop and is putting the offense in a bad position, Mahomes has to throw the ball, and he is trying to do everything. They need to make a trade at the trade deadline. They need some more defensive impact, go get somebody, because Mahomes cannot do this. Because the newsflash, their division right now, Kansas City is sitting at the bottom, and they look like that. Now, you got the Chargers, you have the Broncos. Right now, the Chargers clear cut above everybody else. There's still time, just like Jameis for MVP. But I just want to say there is going to be some adjustments that need to be made.
Gotcha. No, I agree. And it's not like the outlook's not great for Kansas City because Clyde Edwards-Helaire just went on IR today.
Yeah,
so he's out for at least 3 weeks. And that was right as he was catching his stride this season. But I don't think any of this should discredit how good the Bills are playing right now.
They're doing really good.
They kind of stumbled there early in a couple games, but have since picked it back up. Josh Allen's back to Josh Allen form, and I think the Bills, if you ask me, after watching this game, front runner at least front runner in the AFC for the for Super Bowl path.
I'm going to be biased, and I'm always going to be like, the Chargers going to be there behind. But saying that, I know there was a lot of naysayers for Josh Allen. I know that the Bills seem to be keep getting overlooked all the time. Uh and so I feel like this is going to be their year where they're going to be able to shine a lot. So I mean, they're looking pretty solid
I
right
agree.
now. So we're pretty much going to see them in the playoffs, and they're going to pretty much dominate quite a bit in there.
I agree. Moving on down, we had Bengals versus the Packers. There's so much that happened in this game besides the 37 missed field goals. We're going to get to the field goal situation in the NFL. The Bengals, if you ask me, are a great football team, but I'm not sure that Joe Burrow is going to be alive to see the end of the season.
Ugh. I mean, yeah, I don't know. He's going to be. Is he still going to get injured? I have no idea what's going on.
He went to the hospital for a throat contusion. Like, that's the first time I've heard of that in the NFL.
I don't mean to laugh. That's so unfortunate. Like at this point, he's really like pleading with his offensive line. Hey, help somebody. Like, he's a great quarterback. Give him a decent offensive line, and he's up there with Justin Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
He's up there with Josh Allen if he gets that protection, because he has an arm and he loves to stay in the pocket. But Jesus help him.
I always tell those kind of situations with those kind of quarterbacks who don't have a really good, pocket defense. I hate to say it this way, but it's those quarterbacks that are going to get Andrew Lucked. They're going to sit there, they're going to get beaten down, they're going to get hit real hard, and then they're going to have to either, retire early or just fade into the background because they're just getting too injured to be able to play effective football no matter what. You can be the best. You could be Andrew Luck, but if you don't have that pocket defense and you're just going to get sacked, 20 times a season, then it's going to be hard.
Yep. And it doesn't help when your kicker goes 0-2. But let's get into this. So this game goes to overtime. Mason Crosby had made like 30 straight field goals. This game, and McPherson is a great kicker as well. They had six missed field goals in this game, which was like a standout point on the fact that something like 13 or 14 missed field goals around the league this week.
Yeah, it was almost half of the total missed field goals that week.
It was insane. Do we have a kicking problem or what? How do you even talk about this?
It's a mental game, and since their only job is to kick a field goal, if they miss one, they're in their heads. You can see it. They go back to the sideline with their head down. Like Mason Crosby, he loves to hit the crossbar. That guy is great. I've never seen that in my fort. And then McPherson, did he show up? I mean, I guess he
made both of his extra points.
Ooh. So like, I just think it was a mental game when it comes to kickers, because 2 weeks ago we saw Justin Tucker kick the farthest field goal in history. So it's a bad week for kickers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Like, Mercury's and Gatorade or something happened this week. It's a throwaway week for kickers, I'm sure, unless it can persist next week, which hopefully that's not the case. There was a lot of kickers that did not have good show ups this week, and I am really sad about that, but it is what it is. Sometimes you have kicker problems. If it is the weakest part of your team, that sucks, but at least there could be other bigger problems with your teams, I suppose.
Unless you're the Carolina Panthers and you're on your 5th kicker of the season.
Yes.
So with that being said, we then go to Baltimore versus Indianapolis, an absolute thriller. I want to say Paul works for Rare Drop, puts a lot of notes on our run of show. Puts a lot about Lamar Jackson on this. And I want to say before we get into this, if Baltimore's so good, why did they go to overtime with 1-3 Indianapolis? That's all I'm going to say, but we'll get into it. Lamar Jackson with 500 yards by himself, 440 on in the air with 4 touchdowns, no picks. That's actually third for 81 or 85% completion. That's like an NFL record for yards and all that. And then another 60 on the ground. An absolute thriller, as Carson Wentz also throws for 400 yards and has 2 touchdowns. Is Indianapolis better than their record says, or is Baltimore playing down to the teams that they're playing?
They have a lot of third option.
What?
Lamar is that damn good. Put some respect on his name. A lot of people like talk bad about him. He can go. He's gonna take that next step. I think I put in the run the show later on. He is trying to take that next step. So many people dog him. Like, he's doing everything. He doesn't have a running game. Latavius Murray has 17 yards. He is doing everything. And I don't want to discredit Carson Wentz, because this is the Wentz that we should be seeing, and why Indianapolis traded for him and instead of going for one in the draft. But man, Lamar is that guy. It's just nobody believes that he can do that. Put some respect on his name.
Tell me what to do.
I mean, well, I don't know, man. The Colts were doing really good for the first half. They look like they were looking super solid up until the last quarter of the game, and then the last quarter just kind of sunk real downhill for them. And Lamar Jackson had probably one of the best comebacks I'd ever seen. Just getting those point spread up, narrowing that gap. It was pretty amazing to watch. It was not amazing to watch with my Colts fan boyfriend. He was not having a good time that day for the game, but just to see, objectively, to see Lamar Jackson just getting it done, like he's carrying that team on his back to make that win happen, even if it did go into overtime.
I agree. I think as a team, Baltimore is not as good as their record says. I think they've won a lot of close games against some really bad teams, and I think that's gonna bite them. Anthony, no. I get that Lamar Jackson is amazing. I get it. He is phenomenal, but I think they can only keep this up for so long, and we'll see. But who has kept it up is the Dallas Cowboys, who also is their record deceiving as well, because now they have 2 straight wins against a Carolina team that's falling apart and a New York Giants team that lost half their roster. So with that being said, is Dallas for real? Now, before we preface this, I will say I think they are on their way to being real, and that their 2 running backs combined remind me of D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart together.
I try not to, as a fan, I try not to say anything nice about the Cowboys, but objectively, they're looking pretty. Yeah, they're looking pretty solid. Yeah, for me personally, the only game that the Chargers lost was against the Cowboys, but honestly, I think it's because the Chargers were getting lazy. But that being said, I would like to see the Cowboys kind of get challenged a little more. Like, I'm seriously not gonna be in there and be like, they're the greatest team again, because I want to see them go up against somebody like Tampa Bay or, Jameis Winston. Or
look,
once I see that, maybe I'll drink the Cowboys Kool-Aid, but for now, I'm not doing it.
I'll give you my Kool-Aid for Cowboys. I'm not, and I know I'm gonna get some ripped about it. I'm looking at their schedule for the next. Honestly, the rest of the season, they're set. They play the Patriots. We know we got a rookie quarterback. The Vikings, which are that could be a trap game. I love the way Justin Jefferson is playing, but then they go Broncos, Falcons, a busted up Chiefs, the Raiders. We all know about that one. The Saints could be an issue because James is going to come out and throw for 4 touchdowns. Then they got Washington, Giants, Washington. Literally, I'm counting like 7 more wins right now.
Yeah, that
for
sounds
Dallas.
like a decent schedule. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
So they're going to make it to the playoffs and be out in the first round.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We can agree on that. So moving down the line, we had an absolute thriller with Cleveland versus the Chargers. Lou is a Chargers fan, so we're going to give her pretty much the floor here. But I want to talk about a stat that I saw on Twitter after this game ended. Cleveland is the first team to have 500 yards, 40 points. And I want to say, no turnovers? Did I have any turnovers? No turnovers. No turnovers, and still lose the game.
That was, okay, first of all, anybody watching that game, whether or not you were like a Browns fan or a Chargers fan, that game was absolutely phenomenal to watch. It was freaking nuts. I was going absolutely bonkers. I was losing my mind. My blood pressure went up. Everything was going crazy because we're seeing a game where like the lead changed just in the last quarter 6 times. And so, or in the last half, I should say 6 times. So it was a pretty, both teams balled the hell out. It was really crazy to see. You can see that Justin Herbert looked like an absolute stud, throwing some bombs, getting some good receivers from Mike Williams. and Austin Eckler and everybody else that is be able to, that's able to catch something for that team. But that being said, there were some glaring run defense holes that the Chargers need to clean up if they actually want to do something, good in the playoffs, or just to continue on in the, going forward. Because Cleveland did a really good job of showing that our defense really sucks on run defense in general, or in particular. So that being said, their defense was, it was a shootout. It was basically a shootout. They were sitting there, they were just kind of scoring on each other all the time. It was a little crazy, but that's me. That's all I have to say about that.
That's fair.
We're gonna make the playoffs if we can clean up our defense.
Yeah. I mean, giving up 230 yards on the ground is not exactly what what you want your team to do. So, like you said, maybe some fixes and some buying there at the trade deadline for the Chargers to make that up. But Anthony, we've talked about Justin Herbert, I think, almost every week now. This was another step forward for Justin
Absolutely.
Herbert. 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Can we officially take the question of he's a real deal away and say that he is the real deal, and we don't have to question this anymore moving forward?
I'm gonna say he's the real deal.
No.
Yeah, he's the real deal. He is what Miami should have drafted.
No.
I'm gonna keep on going back to that.
I see so many memes about just the Dolphins fans looking at Justin Herbert performing, absolutely balling out, and there's just that depression narcos meme and stuff. So I totally get it.
Fair.
You're doing good.
Yep. They're
I'm so
4-1. They have easy control of their division, which is some teams that are falling apart in Denver and Oakland and Las Vegas.
They need to go back to Oakland. They do.
Yeah. And the Chiefs are just a mess. So that division is the Chargers to lose, I think, at this point. I'm happy for them. I like to see it. I know a team that Anthony's happy for is the New Orleans Saints. They barely scraped by Antonio Gibson in his 2 touchdowns. As Jameis Winston threw one of the most head-scratching interceptions I've ever seen in my entire life. And
like that.
And Callaway coming up with one of the best Hail Mary catches I've ever seen on a very bad Hail Mary thrown pass. But what do we have to say about this game?
Can I ask you a question now? Why, when you described this game, you went after Jameis like this?
I didn't.
Wow.
I said that everyone else did a great job. I can't highlight who else did good.
Jameis did.
I mean, he did
job.
all right.
He got the win. I mean,
that defense got the win.
Debatable, but he's still he has not taken himself out of the MVP race right now. He is managing the team. They're getting wins. As long as they're getting enough wins, he will have a breakout game, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
He got carried.
Debatable.
Also, Callaway was on my bench. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, no.
But no, I mean, let's be real. Jameis only completed 50% of his passes. I mean, he half of his yards came from 2 passes, one to Callaway, one to Harris. I'm still not sold on him. You can't sell me on the fact that you're heaving the ball off your back foot as hard as you can and your receivers are making the play.
I can. 12 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions for the season.
Did you watch the interception that he had on Sunday?
Can I finish?
Okay.
He has almost the same touchdown to interception ratio as Dak Prescott. And we're talking about Dak in the top 3 MVP race. So let's think about that before
let's look at completion percentage.
Why are we looking at that? I just told you the stats that are important, which is 12-3, and Dak is 13-3. Jameis should be talked about more, that he's not giving the ball away. He's not costing the Saints losses. It's not him.
I mean, he cost the Saints a loss against Carolina, but Lulu, I told you. I warned you about the Jameis
no,
talk.
it's okay. I totally get it. I'm just spectating at this point for the segment right now. That's okay.
Listen, I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt until he has yet to put together, to me, a complete game of football where he can throw for over 200 yards. Don't even look at me in that tone of voice.
God. Oh my God. The disrespect for Jameis. Every week.
He got carried. That Hail Mary to end the first half, that was all Callaway. Caught the ball over 3 people. Should have been an interception.
But he threw for 279. How many touchdowns did he throw?
And
Tell
threw
me. How
4
many
touchdowns with a head-scratching interception. Still only completed 50% of his passes. Not an MVP in my book. 100% carried. 100%.
One day.
100%. We'll do some rapid fires out here. The Eagles, who were not a favorite, took down Carolina. I'm just going to say it right now. Carolina's O-line just isn't there. I don't know what in Matt Rule's brain was going on where he took Taylor Moton, their franchise right tackle, who has played right tackle his entire life, and was like, hey, we're going to put you on the left tackle slot. And then they took Brady Christensen, who has played left tackle as a rookie, and put him on the right tackle slot. It was like, hey, this will work. And then Sam Darnold gets his butt kicked. But also, like, Sam Darnold, is starting to look like Sam Darnold again, throwing interceptions when checkdowns are open, when he has an open pocket. It is what it is. Special teams mistake. Philly, I wouldn't say Carolina made as many mistakes as Philly took advantage of better talent on different teams. There's that. Moving down the line, Jacksonville has now lost 20 straight games.
They're doing good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. Just hopefully maybe they'll get better soon. I don't know.
I mean, they're playing Miami this week.
Maybe.
In London, we're pretty good in London.
But Jacksonville's like a home team in London at this point.
Because they don't have a home back here. They don't.
Fair. When do they get rid of Urban Meyer? So normally a first-year head coach, regardless of losses, you may see him through week 12, week 13, maybe even week 15. But Urban's become such a distraction. Do they just get rid of him and let him go to USC?
The question is he a distraction now? With all the stuff going on in Las Vegas? Is he? I forgot what happened.
I'm pretty sure everybody just kind of forgot about him now because they're on to the next, what's going on with the Raiders and stuff.
Cool. Yeah. All right, moving down the line. Arizona, in my mind, is the best team in the NFL, and Kyler Murray is the front runner for MVP. Thoughts?
I mean, they look solid, absolutely solid. They're undefeated for a reason. It's not like they were having really, terrible opponents. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had the Giants or Jacksonville. So they've actually beaten pretty solid teams. So I mean, these guys are going to be the ones that we're going to probably see dominating in the playoffs.
Yep. Cliff Kingsbury, if you're watching this listening to this podcast for some reason, I want you to know I'm looking directly in the camera and I'm asking you right now, why couldn't you do this when you were at Texas Tech? Thank you. So with that being, yeah.
So I just want to point this out there. I know you're going to give me a look. Kyler Murray, 1,500 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
On a 5-0 team.
You know who has better numbers?
I don't care if it's Jameis Winston.
All right.
What's the record of the Saints?
If we're going off of records, usually MVP doesn't really.
Yes, it does.
It's a winning record. A winning record.
They
the
3-2.
Have a winning record.
They 3-2. Okay.
Above 500.
Just checking.
My God.
Just checking.
James.
I just want to say Kyler Murray has thrown over 250 yards every single one of the game this season except for one. Jameis didn't break 200 yards for 3 games.
More touchdowns.
Okay. And that being said, the Bucs ride Tom Brady's 5 TDs in the route of the Dolphins. I thought they were on a bye week, but apparently they just got their butts kicked. There's not much to say here. Tom Brady got hurt his thumb, might be back. The Bucs. We're gonna see him in the Super Bowl, most likely.
Yeah, that's it. They just, they had a speed bump and on to another game this week.
Yep.
I'll bring up something in Miami real quick. Miami in the second quarter, and I tweeted about this during the game. We are 40-10. We give up 40 points in the second quarter this season. That's why we can't win, and that's why we cannot be competitive. We will come out in the lead in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. The last 4 games we have, even against the Bucs, we were ahead. Mm-hmm. We gave up 21 points to Tom Brady in the second quarter, and you cannot come back from that.
Yep. There, it's true. And then finally, the last game will hit the Rams versus the Seahawks. In a shocking turn of events, I thought these records would be swapped for these two teams, but the Seahawks are now 2-3, and the Rams are 4-1. Russell Wilson is now out for at least 6 weeks, is what they're saying. Yep. And the Rams are rolling. If you're the Seahawks, are you in panic mode, Or are you just like, hey, let's just go ahead and take the losses and get a higher draft pick?
I mean, Russell Wilson before like the previous years he's been doing super well. He's not doing as good this year as he did before. So I'm a little worried about him. But he is injured, so he's out right now. And I don't really think they have a really good quarterback. I don't even
Geno
who is
Smith.
their backup?
Geno Smith.
Is it really Geno Smith?
Yes. I didn't even know he was still in the league until Sunday.
Oh, wow. Well, I wish them best.
Okay.
That's all I can say. I don't know what to say. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw Geno Smith play.
Same. Probably with the Jets. And that was like 8 years ago.
Ouch.
Oh, yeah. Hey, this is one of those times we'll acknowledge chat where someone in chat has it right. Geno Smith is better than Jameis Winston. I agree.
Ooh.
I'm gonna mute myself. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. Like Geno Smith, hopefully he does good there.
Yeah.
While Russell Wilson gets his finger unmessed up.
Yep. But that's it for this past week. Like we said, a lot of great news and a lot of good games coming out this week. Some of the not great things were some of the injuries that happened. We mentioned it. The entire Giants roster and Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Kenny G, and Andrew Thomas are hurt. That puts the Giants further back down the line than they were. I don't expect them to win a game without any of them. The Cowboys are also being decimated by injuries, and they released one of their starting linebackers in a dumb move. So they're hurt in different places. We just mentioned Russell Wilson, and then Tom Brady's hurt as well. I think the only team that needs to panic, because obviously the Giants don't need to panic because they were trash before. They're still going to be trash. Is probably the Seahawks, and we just talked about it. Russell Wilson being out is a big blow. He's one of the he's top. I'd put top 5 quarterback in the league. So we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Then we move on to our top storylines, which these two have been waiting for since we started. In an investigation into the Washington football team, the NFL uncovered some emails from John Gruden that referenced a lot of things. He is a racist, he is anti-gay, and he is misogynistic. He is a gigantic piece of shit. And he's now out of Las Vegas, but I'm going to let you two have the floor. You've got some things to say. Take it away. You can, whichever order you want to go.
I'll just put in a quick little blurb here saying that there is, having the emails come out for John Gruden just puts out that big old glaring hypocrisy that the NFL has about just allowing this teeming amounts of homophobia, misogynistic, racist behaviors to just go ahead and be pervasive and be everywhere in the back scenes or in behind the scenes, in the back, curtain areas, just things like that. What is it? Metaphorically. And we see these platitudes by the NFL in general where it's like, oh my God, we'll let you do all of your, the platitudes that you want to do, and it's just really dumb. And it's a surprise to absolutely no one that this is a thing that's still allowed to go on. And this was only found out because the Washington football team was getting absolutely investigated. And so this was something that came out because there's a lot of also shenanigans happening with the Washington football team regarding the cheerleaders, and just, which is a whole other thing because they're taking, every organization is not paying the cheerleaders enough, but that's something else. In any case, screw that guy all the hell. I'm really glad that he's gone, but he is not the only one, nor will he be the last to be found out. There's still going to be many other people that are going to be in there, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. Thank you. And
I was trying to figure out what the right thing to say live. Obviously, it started with just one email, and a lot of people who backed him was like, that was from 9-10 years ago, and let's forgive him, which that still is kind of baffling. But then we get 900 emails later, and the true self comes out. I know Antonio Brown said something about him before he left Oakland. Keyshawn Johnson, he never liked him from when he took over for Tony Dungy in Tampa Bay, and he got that ring from them. And like Lewis said, there's more there's more than just these 900 emails. This is very disgusting. For anybody to say, "Oh, this happened 9, 10 years ago, let it go," you're part of the problem as well.
Mhm.
We can never move forward. We never grow as a country, as people, until we get this to the limelight. And unfortunately, it's going to be like that. You're going to see some people surprisingly step away because I think there's more than just him. I know he was in this group chat with the old president for the Washington football team Bruce Allen, and just some of the most disgusting things stating from he has a player on his team that came out, and and there's a picture, very disgusting picture of him hugging that player, and he's saying all this stuff in emails. He coaches. The NFL is 70% African American. You're coaching these players, and you're coaching these guys, and you're saying this in the emails. You're sending these photos from the cheerleaders. It's just disgusting. He is a disgusting human being. He should never set foot in any type of analyst role again, coaching. And you know what? The people who defend him, they need to look in the mirror.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can talk about Gruden all day. I read an article on The Undefeated, which is ESPN affiliate site. And there were a couple quotes that stood out, but the one that stood out the most, it says, "The NFL has gotten rid of its Gruden problem. It has not gotten rid of Grudenism, regressive sensibilities that stand foursquare against diversity, inclusion, and tolerance." So this is not, Gruden is the tip of the iceberg, and it's so obvious. I mean, as a Panthers fan, I got to see a team and a fan base rally around Eric Reid whenever he was being blackballed by the NFL. And now it come to find out that John Gruden was one of the people behind blackballing Eric Reid for taking a knee during the anthem and blackballing certain black players. And it's not just John Gruden, though. It's like the time that Ron Rivera, who for so long acted like he defended Eric Reid, knowing that Eric Reid came off of one of the best seasons for a safety in recent memory on Carolina, on that squad, goes, "Well, Eric Reid can try out for the practice squad if he wants." Like, you're a part of the problem whenever you enable someone like John Gruden, and he has a legion of powerful white people behind him, white men behind him that are gonna enact and enable these policies and this crap. And to me, like, I say that it has no place in the NFL. For being honest, it's rampant in the NFL. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and we're only going to see it. But now the NFLPA has called for every single one of the 650,000 emails that have been investigated to be released. Why not?
And unfortunately, I don't care what people say. This is status quo in the NFL.
Yeah.
We're going. 100%. This is there's other organizations that I could just shout out that have done a lot of like shady stuff, especially in the last 3 years when everything has been heightened. We saw the true colors in a lot of owners. We saw coaches that were afraid to step up and protect their players. We saw you talking about Rivera. There was a lot of coaches that was afraid because they didn't want the backlash of somebody that supports them and gives money to their team. This is not new. And if you think that this is a new issue, you really need to start doing your history. You need to start studying, because this is not new. This has been going on. It's just now everything is coming to the limelight, and we are not done with this. No. And I hope everybody gets exposed from this. I'm like, we joked about Urban Meyer, but he's not going to be thought about anymore. Like, this is something that needs to be addressed, and it's just time. It's time to clean up the NFL, which unfortunately, who knows?
So for sure, like, we know 100% Colin Kaepernick has the fact that he's still not back in football is the only thing you need to know about the temperature of what's going on with NFL football in the background. This is pervasive. They have no reason to clean it up. Maybe after these emails get released, maybe they have an intention to clean up their acts, but I highly doubt it. We'll see what happens. I mean, we don't see a lot of people of color in the GM roles and the major stakeholder managers, owners. So, man, I mean, where do you start?
I think what pisses me off the most is that this is John Gruden, that Mark Davis fought to have coach his team when Al Davis was one of the most barrier-breaking hiring owners and GMs in football. Al Davis is rolling in his grave because of this. And because there are other people who have done a lot for the NFL and breaking down those barriers, but Al Davis was one of the first to help do it, and I hate it, and we should all hate it, and I hope, as both of y'all said, that everything comes to light, and everyone who is a part of the problem is brought down in a flaming ball of crap, because that's what they are.
We can hold this. It's the beginning of the week. Investigative journalism is alive and well.
Mm-hmm.
We shall see what's going to keep happening, what's going to keep coming out. I hope you guys have more of a robust news week next week to more about anything else that's coming to light for this next week. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Still Tuesday. It's only Tuesday.
It's only Tuesday.
No, I know.
Oh man, it's like last week we went off the air and like almost immediately Carolina trade for Stephon Gilmore. I was like, oh, of course. But moving on down the line, keeping with the top storylines, let's go back to the Ravens. We talked about the Ravens and my concerns with the Ravens if they can keep this up. The Ravens have now put 16 players on IR.
That's nuts.
16.
Yeah.
That's including 3 starting running backs.
Oh no.
So with that being said, and going back to my earlier point, how long can they manage to win with only Lamar Jackson?
I mean, he's pretty talented.
Yeah.
That dude is capable of carrying his team, but how far can you do that? How long can you actually be there and do most of the work? Obviously they still won some games, so it's very possible for them, but once they start getting into the really, long term, week 10, 11, 12, what are we going to see? Like, are these players, are they going to have more injuries? First of all, like, what's going to happen? Because sometimes it's a landslide with it. Sometimes it's a landslide with injuries, and I've seen it with the Chargers before, to where, like, maybe, I think it was 2 years ago that there was just so many injuries. It was crazy.
Yeah. What do you think, Anthony?
That's just me, though.
I mean, it's so early in the season. 16 IR players. I think a lot of teams are fighting injuries. We talked about the crazy injuries earlier. So it's just about how much you can weather the storm. If you can get ahead with a good record, you might take some losses in the middle, and then hopefully by the middle, like halfway to the season, you can come back and make that run. Nobody's really going to jump out. I think the Bills might, just because of the division they're in, because they only got them in the division, so they might just jump away. But everybody else, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be really good. A lot of week 16 and 17 matchups that we're going to have to highlight, because that's going to decide who gets in or not.
I mean, the Ravens are 4-1 with 16 people injured. I mean, it's not like they're doing terrible.
Yeah.
They're still getting the work done. So imagine them when the people come back healthy. Wait, you said IR, right? So they're not coming back.
Oh, they could. They could IR designated to return. So that's what, a minimum of 3 weeks in the IR.
Right. Okay.
So
we'll see mid to late, season. We can possibly see them kind of absolutely dominating if they can keep up winning games.
Go ahead.
Looks like it's possible.
Yeah. I think my biggest worry is that as a Panthers fan, I saw what's happening to the Ravens right now happen to Cam Newton, where he had to carry the entire team by himself.
That's right.
And it wore on his body. And Cam Newton is bigger and arguably stronger than Lamar Jackson. And if Cam can't survive that, then I am worried what's going to happen if Lamar Jackson keeps doing what he's doing. I'm worried that Lamar's going to get hurt. And of all people, I don't want him to get hurt. As we've mentioned, he's a stud. He's fun to watch. He's a good dude. It's just like, you don't want that to happen, and you don't want to see a team put every single one of their eggs in that basket. We've seen it when Philly did it to Carson Wentz a few years back. He got hurt. That was the first time he got hurt. They put everything on his back. You've seen it the past 2 years with Christian McCaffrey in Carolina. Guy stays hurt because they put everything on his back. You saw it. I mean, you're gonna see it in more places like this. I mean, I am worried for Lamar Jackson above everyone else. I think he's the one they need to worry about.
So So two things. I'm really afraid for Lamar because I see another RG3 moment where he is trying to do more than he can. And what happened? That injury happened. He came back in the game. He shouldn't have came back in the game, and he got hurt, and he hasn't been the same. I do. I am worried because I like Lamar. Let's also not forget Green Bay. Green Bay has lost their top two corners. They picked up Jalen Smith, which was needed, but I'm starting to worry about them because they had a no-fly zone type of situation in their secondary. Is that going to put more pressure on Aaron Rodgers, who, I mean, he's like the coolest quarterback in the world, but like that's the thing there. Aaron Rodgers, how much can he do it with that offense? Can they power through? So it's like I said, it's going to be very interesting going forward.
Yep. I think interesting is a great way to say it because you have teams on the precipice, let's say Carolina, Denver, even Las Vegas, that are dealing with some pretty big injuries, whether it be on their offensive line, their secondaries. So this leads us into the next question. Our next topic we have, the trade deadline's coming up. Who's buying, who's selling? I think the three teams I just mentioned in Denver, Las Vegas, and Carolina are obviously buyers because they have the talent to go far in the playoffs, to even possibly go to the Super Bowl, dare I say. I probably just jinxed Carolina, and we're about to lose every game for the rest of the season. But we're about to go 3-14. Who else is buying, though? Who else do you think is going to go all in? Is it Green Bay? Now you got Baltimore as well. What do you guys think?
I think the Ravens are going to make some big moves that they want to kind of survive out. I mean, I don't know. It depends on how much they're going to rely on their QB. We know Aaron Rodgers can do it. We know that the Ravens. Why am I blanking out? Lamar Jackson. Yeah. So you can see that Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson are still getting the work done, but it would be nice to see them fill those holes that they're going to have. I don't know how much they're going to rely on them doing what they need to do, or how much they're going to have them rely on their QBs, but I definitely see both of them, if not at least the Raiders going in there too. I mean, but who knows with the Raiders? Their leadership's shaking up, so who knows what's going to come out of that camp?
Yeah.
I said it earlier in the show. Look for Kansas City to bolster that defense. Buddy of mine just reminded me. Fletcher Cox. Look for Kansas City making a run for him. The Eagles is a selling team. I think they're a year or two away. They have some offensive lineman pieces as well that can help a team like Carolina. That can help teams that have that issue with. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals is a buying team. That division is very. That's still a fairly decent open team. So I definitely, my number one is Kansas City. They're going to do stuff for the defense. They have to.
Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna if they want to survive for sure. I don't know how desperate they are, but if being last in the division, it's gonna give you motivated to try and make some money moves.
Yeah. With that being said, anyone that's standing out that's gonna sell do you think Miami's gonna sell? Is Atlanta gonna sell, or is Atlanta gonna hold on to every piece to build around Kyle Pitts? Who are we looking at? Who's trying to get rid of players and build draft capital right now?
Oof.
Yeah,
I hate to say it. If Miami keeps falling down this path, I see Xavier Howard leaving. I see, even though we gave him a contract upgrade in the offseason, if we can get a second, maybe a first from a team that is, once again, I'll go back towards Kansas City. If we can get something from them, we do have a lot of first-round draft picks. I do think Tua might be on their way out as well, Tua, because we're maybe looking at getting a rookie quarterback, or once again Deshaun Watson and just sitting him until next year. But I think we could be.
Tua?
I've been trying to like Tua. I think in the right system he can be good. The last game before he got hurt, he was more in a RPO offense. Okay. So it was really either a quick read or get the ball out of his hands quickly. But I think Miami could be a seller. I don't see Atlanta because they're stubborn. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota is a seller.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
I have no commentary on that. There's no way I can, for me personally, predict anything like that. So I will go with what you are saying here.
Perfect. We don't know what we're talking about either. This is like whose line is it anyway? We just make it up as we go.
Oh, perfect.
Brandon Cooks can be traded too. Don't forget about that.
Oh yeah, Houston's gonna sell. Houston doesn't have a draft pick for the next 17 years, so they got to sell something to get some draft picks.
That's true.
So we'll see what happens with Houston, but hopefully they make some moves. But yeah, Brandon Cooks is going to be a high draft pick, or a good defensive player for Houston to trade for. That being said, our rookie recap's a little bit shorter this week because, well, there's really only 2 people to talk about this week. Trevor Lawrence, and I wrote under the note, I just said, I'm convinced it's all Urban's fault.
I mean, yeah.
He threw for 273, a touchdown and interception. He had a couple runs. He looked good. This is probably the first game that he's looked like a solid NFL quarterback. Is this Urban Meyer's fault?
You laughing? You know the answer.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead.
I honestly think Trevor Lawrence needs more time to cook. I think this was a one-off. I think he's still like, you know how like when you're sizzling and you're sauteing something in a pan and just something like pops really fast and then it's back to normal. I feel like that's what this week was with Trevor Lawrence. He's just had that one pop and he's kind of back to being, like just mediocre sizzling.
I like these cooking references. Okay, so here's the deal. I agree with you. I think he should have kept a little bit longer. I think they should have kept Gardner Minshew and Trevor Lawrence should have sat all year. But that's just me. Because I wanted to see a man with a nice mustache and a mullet tearing apart the NFL.
I will win or lose. I will watch Gardner Minshew the second just go out and ball, whether he's winning or not. That dude is
I love
just
his
fun.
fashion.
Yeah, love that guy.
It's Billy Ray Cyrus from 1992.
Yes, it is. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say, I'm a huge Gardner Minshew fan.
No, you're good. So yeah, I think it'd be a flash in the pan. Maybe it's a sign of something good. Hopefully it's a sign of something good. The other rookie that we've been keeping track of heavily is Kadarius Toney. Again, we talked about him, 10 catches for 189 yards. Is this a flash in the pan? Is this because everyone's hurt? Or is it everyone's hurt, he's going to prove that he's worth it, and now he's going to be good going forward?
I think we talked about him in week 1. Mm-hmm. I think this is something, give him the damn ball. At this point now, you have nobody else, so you might as well force him, give him 25 targets.
Yeah, and he's good for it. He's ready. He wants to be number 1. So, and you can tell every time you give him the ball.
Yeah, I agree. We've talked about Elijah Moore. I didn't actually write him here, but Elijah Moore out of the Jets. We didn't talk about him because we haven't even talked about the Jets, mainly because they lost to Atlanta in London, and it was like 6:00 in the morning, and I woke up and I was like, crap, I forgot to start Michael Carter. And so here we are. I missed out on like 12 points, whatever. Also, Nate's not here, and Nate, our other co-host, is also a Jets fan, so that's normally where we get it from. But Elijah Moore, another rookie we've been following, a second-round pick, again, just to remind everyone, only had 2 targets and 0 catches. I think, as we've said every week, this is what you're going to get from him, I think, with a shoddy offensive line, a rookie QB, and a running game that doesn't know how to move the football that well. You're not really going to expect much from your receivers. It's kind of case in point.
Yep. It is what it is. Yep. I can't really I have nothing to say about anything that's going to disagree with that.
Did you see Zach Wilson?
Yeah.
That guy is talented.
Yeah, besides the fact that he went 19 of 32 for under 200 yards and a pick.
That's what I mean. Did you see some? Did you see?
Yeah, he looks like Jameis. All right. Moving on to our look ahead for next week. Top of the show or into the show, bring this all around. We have Kansas. We have 3 games that we'll talk about, and Lula, so you have reference. We're going to talk about them, and we also have the lines for each game. So we'll go through some Vegas odds, kind of make our picks.
I love Vegas odds.
Perfect. So we have Kansas City versus the Washington football team. It's not that this is exactly the most exciting game in the world, but this is Kansas City has to right the ship. Is this the week that Kansas City puts it back together, or do we think that they're going to have a nail-biter against Washington, who has managed to keep every game they've been in with Taylor Heineke close?
Ooh, I have the panic button ready, because if we go on this show next Tuesday and they lost, like, they should trade the farm to fix whatever their problem is. This should be an easy win. They should win by 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, they have the same
same record.
Yeah, same record. They're both 2-3. So like this could
tail
literally
of
be
the
a
team.
yeah, it could possibly be a toss-up, but the way the Kansas City Chiefs are playing, I mean, I don't know.
Let's think about what was just said. A team quarterbacked by Pat Mahomes has the same record as a team quarterbacked by Taylor Heineke.
Old Dominion finest.
No,
I'm
That's my hometown. I had to give a shout out to my hometown in Virginia.
I mean, that being said, I would probably still put my chips down for like Chiefs.
Okay.
Just because I think desperation's gonna kind of really claw at them this week.
Mm-hmm.
To really try and get their stuff together and try to, like you said, right this ship, because I mean, losing to the Washington football team would kind of like hurt more than losing to the Chargers this season.
Yeah, fair. That being said, Vegas currently has the Chiefs -7 and the under set at 55. You ask me, I'm just gonna take the Chiefs -7. I don't want to. I don't know how many points are gonna be scored.
Yeah, I would do that. I would definitely just do. I don't know. I would probably do like a win-loss.
Okay.
Instead of like a spread.
Okay.
Could you imagine if it was the shootout?
Ooh.
Could you imagine?
Taylor Heineke comes out and balls out for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
like
can you imagine? Like, and then they win because Kansas City missed a field goal. Like, wouldn't that be some stuff?
That
like
is very possible. That is very possible.
Oh my gosh! Please no. Okay, cool. Moving on to the next one, we have Arizona versus Cleveland. We have Cliff Kingsbury's boys going up against one another. So Cardinals obviously 5-0. Cleveland has now lost 2 games by the skin of their teeth. Who takes this? Does Cleveland actually give the Browns or does Cleveland give the Cardinals a run for their money here? Is this their first loss?
No. The Cardinals are gonna. They look absolutely solid. You can see the glaring holes in the Browns defense this past week, and I'm more than sure that the Cardinals are gonna like review that tape and make a plan.
Okay.
They didn't come 5-0 without like their defense is number 1.
Okay.
Arizona does have some injuries. Chandler Jones is on the COVID list. So that is, he is not cleared to play yet. I want to say that they also are missing their linebacker as well. Just something to keep an eye out, because Chandler Jones has been a problem this whole season. That being said, I still have Arizona winning because Cleveland cannot figure this out for some reason with this stacked lineup.
So I'm gonna blow your minds. The current line is Cleveland -2.5. So Cleveland's actually the favorite in this game.
Cleveland's the favorite?
Yes.
Are they playing in Cleveland?
Yes.
Oh, they gave him the home field. That's stupid. I'm sorry. That is stupid. That is. Man. Start Kyler Murray.
Yeah. I mean, and then the over set at 50. It opened at 53. So that like you ask me, I don't think money line Arizona +125, Browns -149. I don't want to touch any of that. I'm just going to bet the over. I'm just going to slap $100 on the over because this is going to be another shootout.
I would have to kind of agree on that. That's kind of what it looks like. But I said, oh man, I have said that there's shootouts before and it was like a shutout. So maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. What do you got, Ant? What are you taking?
Oh, Arizona. Oh, okay. I don't believe in Cleveland. Oh no.
No, I don't either. It's Arizona. Like
okay.
only
I'm
a
ready to
couple
talk
of years
about
ago.
the next game.
Oh,
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right,
Talk about
perfect.
the next one.
So the next game, I swear this isn't because you're on the show, Lula, but this was actually my game of the week. It's the
Okay.
Chargers versus the Ravens, 2 4-1 teams. Justin Herbert versus Lamar Jackson. Healthy Chargers versus
a very
an
injured,
injured reserve. The
Ravens.
Baltimore injured reserves. So who makes the bigger step forward here? Is it Justin Herbert or is it Lamar Jackson? Because I think this is a defining game for both of them.
Agreed. This is gonna be like a cornerstone game for either team. Whoever comes out on top is just gonna have a fantastic mid-season. I think is what's gonna happen here. So, I being a Chargers fan, of course, I'm gonna say is that the Chargers are gonna be the ones that are gonna come out on top here. But that being said, the Ravens are still having a good beginning season here, and even with the injuries, they're still having Lamar Jackson ball the heck out. So unless the Chargers have a way to neutralize Lamar Jackson, that's it. Just neutralize nobody else, just Lamar Jackson. They could possibly just, pull something good out here. I wouldn't call it that it's going to be a shootout, but it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
Lamar is gonna have a problem if Derwin James, which is probably arguably the best defensive player, that's not
best.
named Aaron Donald. If he shut out Mark Andrews, if he's covering him, if he's following Mark Andrews, which by the way, Mark Andrews balled out, and that is something that Lamar Jackson liked. If he cannot get it to Andrews, this might be a long day. This might.
That's the thing, though. Derwin James is good at playing any defensive spot you put on him. It's kind of crazy, but his position is not just a specific one. His position is defense, any of it. And so for him, he's able to go toe-to-toe with a lot of receivers so that they can be neutralized quite a bit. So it's going to be great as long as Derwin James stays healthy. Hopefully everything works out okay with possibly seeing, no good receivers for Lamar Jackson be able to toss to. So, I mean, it's big ifs. But I think it can happen.
I mean, kind of echoing what y'all said, but let's be honest. The Ravens just struggled against Carson Wentz in the Colts, and not to put them down, but the Colts' defense is not that great. The Colts themselves are not that great outside of their quarterback. I don't think the Ravens have stood up against the test like the Chargers. I think you put it perfectly. The Chargers' secondary is going to be a problem for Lamar Jackson. And I think Justin Herbert's just has better weapons surrounding him. He has a running back.
Yep.
That he has Austin Eckler. Like he has something that Lamar doesn't. And I still think Lamar is probably a better athlete than Justin Herbert, but Justin Herbert has the tools and the weapons around him, and a good coach. And I mean, John Harbaugh, I love him, but I don't think John and Lamar take this from the Chargers, and I think the Ravens fall. And just as Anthony wants to say something.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I might have put a little too much emphasis on very good coach right there because might have had a problem for you.
No, I just think Lamar is going to have the will to win. I think this game against the Colts opened his eyes. I think that he plays with a chip on his shoulder because since he came out of college, when they were asking him to move to wide receiver and running back, he's been playing with a chip on his shoulder. I think that he's going to continue his trajectory up. And that's nothing against Herbert, because I think Herbert is going to throw for 3 touchdowns. I think that it's going to be a close game, but I think Lamar is going to pull it out. For some odd reason, Baltimore is going to have somebody we don't know that's going to rack up fantasy points for Lamar. And I think Lamar is going to have another 300 yards passing, 100 yards rushing, and he's going to do it. He's going to put them on their back, Greg Jennings style.
Okay.
I disagree. I think, yes, Lamar plays with a chip on his shoulder. Yes, Lamar's a great athlete, but I think the Chargers are too complete of a team for him to carry to the Ravens by himself to a win. I think unlike the Colts, who are not a complete team, they're missing a lot of pieces. The Colts will be good next year, right? I think the Ravens fall short here. But not by much. I still think it's gonna be a close game, but I think the Chargers are gonna take it. And
to be fair, we do have an injury in the O line for the one of the linebackers for the Chargers, one of the key players,
Mm-hmm.
did go and tear his ACL. So that might be an issue, but we'll see.
Put a
I think they
Band-Aid on it,
signed
get back
somebody
on the
already.
field.
Yeah, I think one injury versus 16. We'll see what's up.
Put a Band-Aid on
See,
it. He'll be fine.
This is the type of game I wish we would have like a bet on this. Not like a monetary bet, but like, the loser should, like, I don't know, take a shot or something like that. Like, 'cause this is a game that I just think Lamar is going to shock the world again.
Let's do it. Loser has to shotgun a beer.
Okay, so you went straight to a beer. 10-4.
Yeah.
I'm about it.
Yeah. All right. We got it. There we go.
Lula, you want to be a part of this?
Yeah, sure. I'll shotgun a beer if the Chargers lose.
Here
I'll
we go,
shotgun a beer if the
there
Chargers win.
So that's money game of the week. All this talk. Let's get into the lines. Ravens -3. Ravens
Are
the
you
favorite
serious?
coming into this
Really?
game. It's in
Justin
Baltimore.
Tucker.
It's in Baltimore.
Crazy.
Ravens -3, and then the over set at 51.5. I'll be honest with you. I think it's gonna be like a 1 or 2 point game. Give me that over.
Yeah, I would take the over too, just because it's not going to be a big old spread. I would take the over too, but when it comes to like even being at Baltimore, every Chargers game is an away game, even when it's a home game. So let's be real here. The
I
Chargers
know.
are
I
used
used to live around the
playing
corner
away
from SoFi, and I saw how many people were still wearing Raiders gear. None of them were
Yeah.
excited for the Chargers.
Nope. So we'll see. That's I feel like home field advantage is never an issue for the Chargers. It's always an away game for them.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Fair. Well, that being said, that brings us to the end of the week 6 look ahead, and as well the end of week 5 of the regular season. First of all, I want to say thank you to both of you, but especially Lula. Anthony, Lula, thanks for joining us. We really do appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
So again, where can people find you on Twitter, Twitch? Where are we looking?
You can find me on twitch.tv/Lulaboo. I do a lot of cooking streams. I do some hosting duties that you can find me announcing over in Twitter at fail_Lula, Instagram at fail_Lula, and Lulaboo Jenkins on TikTok.
Perfect. And then you can find me everywhere at Nelstar15, and then Anthony you can find everywhere at Big Ants Gaming. Except for on Twitch, you got to add a 757 to the end of it.
Oh, okay.
I'm being honest.
I tried.
But if you are listening to us on your favorite podcast website, make sure you tune in next week, Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, live on twitch.tv/RD Sports. We do interact with chat. We talk with them. We do our thing with them. But if not, just listen to it where you're comfortable doing so. Either way, we appreciate the support. With that being said, we'll see you next week for week 6 of the regular season.